Hello, welcome again to the Wellness Midwife Podcast. Today we will be talking about wellness in pregnancy, and I have an amazing guest with me who will be giving you the opportunity to see how wellness and the holistic approach in pregnancy can be beneficial. So I'd like to introduce today Suman. Nice to meet you,
and
Suman.
You. Thank you for having me.
No, well, welcome. This is the first time we've actually met in person. We spoke on the phone, didn't we? And we were just like chatting. So it's really nice to have you here today.
Thank you.
Do you want to tell the guests a little bit about yourself and how we've come into collabing or into contact? Are you okay to do that initially?
Yeah, that's fine. So I started off as a beauty therapist, and I really enjoyed that interaction with clients, being able to help people, learning about women and their needs, and then combining that with my experiences in life as well.
Yeah.
And actually I started to think, what's beneath beauty? What's beneath nice nails, or even with massages? You know, there's tension, but why is there tension?
Yeah.
So I wanted to dig a little bit deeper and to help people get to the root causes.
Sounds like you not only want to support women with their beauty, but the depth of that and holding them and making them feel well within themselves.
Absolutely.
So how long have you, I think it was 20 plus years, I don't want to give our age away, so it's about 20 plus years that you originally started,
so
wasn't it?
Almost 30 years ago.
Wow.
And so I took a more holistic approach, and it was more learning about reflexology. It was more about the balance that can come in your life. And so it developed more into a coaching role.
Amazing.
And that was then, you know, I could use my life experiences, I could use my qualifications, and both together were really powerful to help women.
I just love the way that you care and that you love the collaboration. I just feel a community sort of sense from you. And when we spoke on the telephone a few weeks ago, without showing our age again, it was interesting that we were both sort of at the right sort of crossroads, if you like, of our lives, where we've had our careers, we have our careers, but also life happens. And life happens without any sense of us controlling it. That, you know, the universe does what it needs to. So you're aware that my journey into starting the Wellness Midwife podcast and becoming an independent midwife was through loss, the loss of my sister. But it's also taught me more about being vulnerable and about, you know, having the space as women to connect and to continue that sort of connection.
Yeah.
One of the things that struck me when we had the conversation was about the 8 dimensions of wellness.
Yeah.
Do you want to share a little bit of that with me and the guests?
Yeah, so I came across this fantastic tool. It's like a diagnostic tool that I use in wellbeing. So as I was coaching and I wanted to develop how I could help people more and help people see where they're stuck. So sometimes you might feel a little bit off and you don't understand where or why. And we wanted to use something that could really help people see for themselves where it's a little bit imbalanced and where support could be needed. So it looks at the different dimensions of well-being, because well-being is not one size fits all. It's different for everybody. So it comes out of a need. So that need is going to be different for everybody. Like yourself, it's, you know, through grief, and for some people it's a difficult time to become vulnerable. And actually as women, we do need to put on that front, and we do need to be the leaders, and we do need to be the ones that we're okay for everybody else. And actually sometimes that means that we need to be supported as well. So having a look at the 8 dimensions, it means that we can have a look at the areas that need a little bit of support.
That's amazing.
And then we can just use that tool to reevaluate. So it's always a work in progress. And it's a nice way that we can actually take back control of our own situation. So if we are feeling stuck, then we can look at the areas that we can work with, and we can always find options within that tool. And that's why I love using it. When I introduce it to women, it's almost like a bit of a light bulb moment that they're like, wow, I've got options. I don't have to feel this stuck.
And I think, again, as we discussed on the telephone, as women, we don't always feel that we have options. Like you said, we're always there supporting others, whether it's being a mother, whether it's being a wife, whether it's being an employee, whether it's being a director of a company. In all aspects, it seems to be us as women that make the sacrifices in a good way. I'm not saying this to be negative, because we are just all encompassing, aren't we, as women? So tell me how you incorporated that with pregnancy, and how you make women in pregnancy feel supported and held. I know that you do a little bit of massage, which I'm so interested and so keen to know more about, if that
I trained in massage. It's a therapeutic massage, and then I retrained in pregnancy massage. So it was a long time ago, and it was really to help women with some of the common ailments that you have. So it's back, neck and shoulder tension,
symphysis pubis dysfunction, swollen feet,
ankles. So it can really alleviate some of those physical symptoms. But actually, we're holistic people, so we can never separate the emotional impact and the mental load that we have as women. And so often that can manifest itself physically. So with the physical touch, it can really alleviate some of those, having a really great knock-on effect emotionally and mentally. And actually, touch therapies facilitate good conversation. So sometimes it could, with coaching, it can feel like something's wrong and we're being fixed. But actually, once you get on the couch and you're a little bit more relaxed, and then that's when the conversation opens up.
Absolutely.
So the massage is a really good tool that I love for pregnancy. Also reflexology, it's a lovely acupressure massage on the feet, and it can be really, really balancing for women during pregnancy.
I absolutely swear by reflexology.
Same.
I had reflexology with my last child, my daughter Olivia, and the therapist she came to my home to do it, which was even better, and it was amazing. The relaxation and the holistic nature of that allowed me to naturally go into labour, and it was just the best. So anyone out there that is into reflexology, this is your girl.
And even if you're not, I would say I was super cynical when I was, learning and actually seeing it for myself. And that's when I say I bring my life experience along with the qualification. So actually from fertility, I used it personally, and it was a really powerful tool to help me along my pregnancy journey, and then throughout pregnancy as well. So I just wanted to capture that feeling.
That's amazing.
Of how I felt. And I wanted to give that to my clients.
Yeah. So it seems to me that you have an amazing vision for women and our well-being. Are you able to share more about that, or is it something that you take day by day, step by step? Is it something that you have fixed, or is it?
I think it's definitely been organic.
Yes.
It's been organic growth, and that's been really interesting to look back on. And I think it's definitely life experiences, becoming a mum, that time when it's a completely new world.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a certain amount of preparation that you can do, and that's what I love to help other women with. So the birth prep, and it's not only the hands-on touch therapies, but it's also that mental and emotional journey that we go through. So the coaching that I offer is from fertility through to first trimester, second, third, and then so importantly the fourth trimester. Baby's here, you're now a mum, and actually it's very different to what we perhaps had planned or maybe visualised, and that's when you need to find your village. And so it's really that time that I love to help women find what they've already got. We already have it within us. It's just giving people that signal to say, I can do this.
Absolutely.
And you may just need a little bit of support in that. And everybody's support looks very different at that time.
Everybody's support looks completely different at that time. I smiled and smirked, so I was sorry to have interrupted if I did at that perspective, because in my experience as a midwife, the 4th trimester or the postnatal period comes as a massive shock to women, and massively so that it can cause depression, it can cause postpartum depression, anxieties, the holisticness of giving birth to a newborn baby, whether it's your first, second, third or fourth, the mental load, the physical load on our bodies, and the emotional load is massive. It's massive. And that isolation that you feel, I can't even describe or put that into words as to how you feel.
Encouraging women to have that voice.
Yeah.
So actually, we sometimes don't know what we want at that point, or we're not sure how to ask for it. And actually, it's okay to ask, and it's okay to say, that's not how I need to be held. So someone's bringing you soup, or, you know, I don't want that. I actually want something else. And it's okay to have that voice at that time.
My saying is, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so women who don't know won't know what to ask for or feel empowered enough to ask for that, which is why having the village and the people around you is massively important. It's so important.
And it's about, again, going back to those options, resources and encouragement. And I think that's the biggest thing, is knowing that there are people that understand. And that's why I kind of like that smirk and the laugh that you did, because that's what I want other women to feel. I want them to be maybe listening to this and say, there's just something that resonated. And it may not even be words, it could be a feeling. And that's really important to me, because that's what I had in other women. I had other resources that I tapped into that I didn't even know that I would need or that I was going to use. I thought I had this in my previous life, you know, professionally successful, you know, as a single person, as a wife, you know, I'd done all that, felt like it was, you know, mastered. Becoming a mum, whole new ball game, even with my professional background, knowing wellbeing, knowing the things and the tools that you can use. Actually, it's time to take your own medicine. And how does that look?
And I think it's that that lack of control as an independent woman, as a single woman, you know, without a child. You can orchestrate when you go to work. You can orchestrate when you wake up or eat. Anything, go to the bath, you know, go to the toilet. When you have a newborn baby or a human that is completely dependent on you, it's like, oh my gosh, like I can't go to the toilet at certain times. I have to wait. I can't make a sound or move because this little one is dependent on me. And, you know, physically, if you're breastfeeding, it's all of that. And no one can. You can do your research, but I don't truly believe that no one can fully prepare you for the reality of everything. So but that will resonate with so many women and so many dads and husbands and partners out there who also don't know what to do for their wives, and
navigating a whole new area.
Absolutely.
And that's why the social well-being, it's one of the 8 dimensions. It becomes so important. It's how you navigate new relationships. What you thought your village was, your friends, maybe they haven't had children yet, or maybe they've got multiple children and they're viewing what you're going through as maybe easy, or they didn't go through it. So who you thought you could rely on, maybe you haven't been able to. And then maybe you've got people coming that you'd never realised were your village, and they're there to support. And I think that was really important for me, was number 1, asking for help, number 2, accepting help. When you've always been, you know, like you said, you know, as women without children, it's not selfish, you're just selfless because you haven't had to care for somebody before. So you're learning how to care for somebody, and the dynamic of your relationship changing and the other relationships that you have in life changing. So you're navigating something completely new.
You're also navigating that that new change within yourself as well. You know, the whole 9-10 months of preparing to be a mom and bonding with that human being inside of you, actually physically seeing that little person and in your mind thinking, oh my goodness, they are actually dependent on me.
Yeah.
I am a mother. I am not just me anymore.
Yeah.
I have another heart outside of me. That's the only way that I can describe that feeling. How was that for you?
Absolutely the same. And, you know, I kind of visualised it very differently to how it was. And so that, you know, the community that I had was so important. And I just really wanted to give back to, you know, others. It was like paying it forward. I never wanted any other woman or mum to feel, you know, lonely or stranded or stuck or,
beautiful.
You know, without people. And so it was really important for me to use what I had, which was that real life experience. And so I was able to share a breastfeeding support group for new mums. There was a hotline as well that they could call if they were really in need and distressed. So I really enjoyed that. And that was when my son was quite young. So, you know, the life experiences were really still new and I could share a lot. So that was a really interesting way to build a community, give back, make connections. And now I've been able to develop the baby massage and yoga classes, mindfulness for mums. So it's a really lovely way for that 4th trimester bonding to take place. And it's a really good way of women connecting. So it may be just...
And collaborating now.
Yeah.
So, you know, here at where we do the podcast at City Space, we can attend events as well, the sisterhood, the group, and just being women and discussing each other and our businesses, our lives. It's amazing. It's
often,
brilliant.
You know, you don't even have to have an agenda.
No.
You know, as women, we've always got something to say. And we...
Always.
Yeah, and it's a good time. We can either be offloading, we can be soundboarding, we can be encouraging, we can be inspiring, and the conversations can lead to all sorts. It can be, you know, maternity clothes and what worked for you. It could be slings and how to carry baby. It could be co-sleeping. The conversations, you know, that I've had over the years and the things that other mums have helped me with have just been so empowering for me to be the mum I am and also the therapist that I am.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's also normalising these conversations and not making women feel, oh, I can't say that or I shouldn't say this. Just feel having the safety and the space to be able to share that. That's why I wanted to start these podcasts in the first place, to give women the space really to share their stories, whether it's birth, whether it's motherhood, working and juggling that work-life balance as a mother.
Yeah.
Yes, I am a midwife, but I'm also a mother myself.
Yeah.
So it encompasses everything. It encompasses all of that.
And that's amazing, which is why I wanted to be part of it as well, because, you know, sometimes you'll hear like a special song and it will take you right back to a moment in your life and it really resonates with you and it always holds that power. And I think these podcasts and these networking events, when we're collaborating and connecting as women, it's just that one thing that you say that resonates with somebody, that makes you feel seen, that makes you feel heard, and that helps you on your journey. And if you can do that for one person, for just one day even, you know, that's kind of me feeling satisfied. Job well done.
So, Suman, we're both mothers. We started our journeys quite differently, also similarly. I'm a mother of 4. Are you able to share your journey into becoming a mother? Is it something that you'd like to share?
It's quite interesting because I've had a few birth chats recently with other women, and you know, as your children get older, it makes you feel like a bit of imposter. You know, it's like hard to remember the birth story. So I'm a mother of 1.
Nice.
Supposed to have been a mother of 4, so it doesn't always go to plan. But it's been absolutely amazing, and like they say, you know, they teach you so much, don't they? And I think they don't even realise it. So they they make you who you are as mums. But yeah, I was trying for quite some time, so it was quite an interesting fertility journey.
Okay.
And I eventually did fall pregnant naturally. Unfortunately, it did end in a miscarriage. And so when I finally became pregnant again, I was very nervous. And I'm always reluctant to talk about that just because it can be really upsetting for some women, but it can also be quite empowering for women as well to know that it does happen.
Yeah.
And actually, lots of people don't talk about it. And I think it needed to be talked about, and it probably would have given me more confidence in that pregnancy. So I spent quite a lot of time probably isolating because I was so nervous. I didn't want to move.
Were you isolating in the pregnancy with
my son?
With your son? Or?
Yeah, because I was so nervous. I think I didn't want to move or do anything that could cause, that
and
happening
was that
again.
through the whole pregnancy, would you say, or just sort of your
I
first
think that's when
trimester?
my village came in
Okay.
because, somebody had noticed that I'd been isolating, and they said, they gave me a really good pep talk.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit of tough love, but it was also what I needed to hear to enjoy my pregnancy. And I was a working lady, so I really enjoyed my job. And I didn't want to not enjoy my pregnancy or not enjoy my job.
Yeah.
And I decided that I probably wasn't going to go back to work for a while because I was going to enjoy my baby. So I wanted to enjoy those last few months of working. And actually that pep talk really helped.
That's amazing.
So it got me right back on track with, you can do all of the things that you're going to do, and sometimes things will happen, but actually you've got all these tools and resources, you know them because this is your job, this is what they were telling me. And I was like, this is what I needed to hear. So actually started to love my pregnancy.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I went shopping and I got all the cute little bits and I did the nesting, and the pregnancy was actually really enjoyable. So I would say probably not the first trimester, a little bit nauseous as well. So physically I was feeling it, but I did draw on those resources. So the reflexology really helped. It was a really good support. It really does help with your central nervous system. Yeah, so that effect emotionally and mentally, it's also good time out, so you can just process those thoughts. So that was really powerful for me to use. So the second and third trimester, much more enjoyable until we found out he was breech.
Oh. And then did you go on to having a normal delivery? Did you have an elective C-section? Is that something you'd...
So this is where I really feel like I want to help women to find their voice. I didn't do enough research, perhaps. I was probably panicked. So I listened to medical professionals. They gave me one option. There was no other options, and that was to have an ECV. So that was to turn him so that I could avoid having a C-section, because obviously everyone tells you not to have a C-section. Unfortunately, it ended up in an emergency C-section. So, you can plan, and it still doesn't always go the way that you'd wanted it to. But what was most important for me was that healthy baby at the end of it.
So my experience as a midwife and supporting women having ECV. So an ECV is an external cephalic version.
Yes.
So basically, if the baby is in the breech position, the consultant obstetrician are trying to turn the baby to be head down.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is about my instinct, or I always truly believe that babies are supposed to be in the position that they want to be or need to be in.
It was extremely invasive.
Yes, yeah. It's a very difficult procedure to observe and to support a woman through.
Yeah.
But, and not many women realise that they do have options, which is again why I want to launch this podcast, so that women know that they have options. I'm having a guest on another podcast actually who opted for an elective C-section, but didn't realise that was a thing that she could request, and the backlash, if you like, that caused. And women do need to be informed. Women do need to know their options, because that can have an effect panicked in the postpartum period, not realising that you did have the options.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. So it was actually a little bit traumatic at the end, and I've obviously cut to the good bit, which was I had a healthy baby at the end of it. It was a very long labour. He was overdue by 6 days. So they started the process, and I was actually in quite a long labour for 4 days. So he was 10 days overdue, all in all. So by the time he came, you can imagine, the relief. So I think for women, we do oftenly say, oh, but at least you've got a healthy baby at the end of it. But, birth, there is some trauma.
Absolutely.
In all of our births, we've just gone through something, really big medical procedure. So I think it's giving women that voice again to process. Yes, we're happy with the end result of our healthy baby, but we've just been through a lot. So we do need to somewhat process what our bodies have been through.
And processing takes time, and it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
So not many women do know that you can be offered what we call a birth reflections appointment with either a consultant midwife or with a senior midwife at your local NHS trusts. This is usually offered at around 6 weeks postpartum, so giving women time to process. So if you yourself have ever experienced any trauma, or even if you just want to ask questions about aspects of your birth, this is an option that is out there for you. So, Suman, you're a mum of one, and how old is your son?
So he's 17
now.
Wow.
Yes. Wow.
Towering above me.
I bet. The kids nowadays are just
huge.
So tall. Yeah. There must be something in the food. There has to be. So tell me about your journey with him, the highs, the lows. Is there any aspect of that
well,
you'd
probably
like
sounds
to share?
Really cheesy, but there's definitely more highs than there is lows. But I think, having that village and that connection is sharing both. And that's what I enjoy about being, a mum, and sharing that with my clients, with my friends. The social well-being is, we have so many different forms of connection. But he was a big baby, so
how heavy was he?
He was about 9-10.
Oh my goodness, that is a huge baby.
After the C-section and the curtains up, and all I could hear was him going, he's huge, and I was like, let me see, I want to see what this huge baby is. He was very sturdy. And like I said, I decided to not go back to work, so I'm really grateful for that I could have that time with him.
Absolutely.
And I could really enjoy each moment. And
considering your journey, so the fertility process and the wanting to have more babies, all our children are precious and all our babies are precious, but there must have been an element of just like awe, and you've got your miracle child.
And I think, like I said, life doesn't always go to plan, but you go with it. And I've been able to really enjoy that with him, and so becoming a mum has been super interesting, and he's made it really fun.
Amazing.
So it's been very enjoyable.
You sound like a very close mother and son.
We are actually.
Really great connection.
Yeah, we are. And so that's really continued throughout the 17 years. And I think that's quite special.
Absolutely.
And I just want to share that with other mums as well, that, we oftenly say we give birth to mum guilt. And I'm trying to take a different spin on that, because sometimes women can feel like we never get it right. If you go back to work, you're missing out. If you're at home, sometimes you can feel resentful and a bit lonely, because maybe other mums have gone back to work and babies are in nursery, and who are your people now and who's your village? So it was navigating all of those feelings that I had time to process. And when the time was right, he was ready for nursery. He needed to be around other children, and he needed to learn those social skills, and it was time for me to start interacting and and finding out what to talk about other than
babies
and nappies. Yeah, so
reading baby books.
It did us both the world of good, and that wasn't easy. You know, he definitely had some separation anxiety, and I had a few tears as well. But it was really good for both of us, and he actually thrived. So he was nearly.
Was the separation anxiety just him, or was it you as well?
Yeah, definitely me as well. Yeah, there were definitely tears, and again, you know, I had my village who I could rely on, and it may have been like getting to work and having a few tears, and then having that person that lets you have that space, but then also says, come on, we're going to have a good day, you know, we're going to go out for lunch, I'll see you, we'll check in at lunchtime, and so you've got those goalposts throughout the day where you're just not thinking about the baby all the time, but you can, you know, think about yourself, and actually I'm going to have a nice lunch and I'm going to have it warm.
Just taking those little steps, that's all one can do.
Yeah,
taking each step day by day. And it got a little bit easier to leave him, I'm assuming.
It totally did.
And then you finding yourself again as an individual, not just as a mum,
exactly.
as a wife.
And that's how I developed the 5th trimester, because that's a really important time when women sometimes aren't even aware of what's happening. It's going back to work, actually physically. What's my style now? I've been used to maternity clothes and then park clothes. So now I need to present myself professionally again. So what does that look like? How do I, you know, interact with those conversations that I haven't been part of for so many months or years? So that's different for every woman, depending on their timeline, but it's being there for them to empower them through that stage. And it was really interesting to look back at sort of old pictures and what my priorities were and how they changed as a mum, and actually being present for him, but also being present for myself.
Absolutely.
So it was navigating those first nights out. So it's really important to leave him with other people so that I can be the best mum, you know, refuel, feel refreshed, and then come back and
wrench.
It is a wrench. It absolutely is, but it's so good for you.
It is.
And I think if you don't do it, you look back and you go, I probably left it maybe a little bit too late to do those things for myself, so that I can remember who I am, but also give my child what they need as well.
The thing is, though, I always think, how do you know when to get back on that bus or get back on that train? And it's an individual and personalised journey, as we keep saying. You know, some women go back to work after 3 months, 6 months, some don't go back. And each decision is great. Each decision is personal to that person.
Yeah, and I've had a sort of a personal mission statement, you know, as a mum, and that's I'm right where I need to be.
Absolutely.
So that kind of alleviates me of any of that mum guilt, that I did what I did at the time, and that was best for both of us. So it made me not worry when I left him, not feel that overwhelming guilt, because I was either at work or I was with friends doing other things. And then when I was with him, I wasn't thinking about, I wish I was at work or I wish I could have a night out with the girls.
Being present.
It's being present.
In
and
every
that's
aspect.
what mindfulness brings to, you know, well-being and to the pregnancy journey and our mum life. And that's a really important part of my classes now, is slowing down, feeling that pause, and actually looking maybe at those 8 dimensions of well-being and saying, where is my energy? Is it depleted, or have I got energy that I need to? Prioritise it in all the areas that I need to in life. So it's a really important tool to revisit through all the stages, especially when your children are getting older, you know.
Because different chapters, your children need you at different, you know, what 0 to 5, 5 to 11. Each chapter and each aspect of parenthood is completely different.
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
like, does it get easier? Does it get harder? But it gets different, and that's exactly what my sort of take on it is. And it depends on each child as well.
And that's what I always say when mums say to me, you know, what should I do about this? Or, you know, what did you do? And sometimes I'm reluctant to share because I want to empower them. Yeah. It's all about your gut instinct and your intuition, but it's guiding women to hear that voice.
Their personal relationship and journey with their child and or
knowing
children.
your child. So as much as I love to share, it's actually guiding women to feel what's right for them, because that will be different for everybody. body. So it's really important for women to feel that and to trust that instinct. It's that trust in yourself. And I think that's so powerful for me becoming a mum, is that having that trust is that we do have this ability. It's just drawing it out of us.
Suman, thank you so much for having this chat with me. I'd love to have you back on another session.
Thank you for having me. I would love to.
If that helps. Just as the podcast is progressing, I'm just getting to know lots of different women, not just in our immediate community, but everywhere. And if you feel that you would like to come and have a chat with me on the Wellness Midwife podcast, whether it's about pregnancy, motherhood, or the postnatal period, just like I think we could have a session just on the postnatal.
We haven't even started
period.
On the fifth
we
trimester.
Could. I know we could. So if any of this resonates with you, then please contact me at Instagram at the wellness_midwife, or you can find me on my website at www.thewellnessmidwife.co.uk.